Do you talk to somebody when you're on an airplane? Is that appropriate airplane behavior? Should you be talking to people next to you?
Yeah, I mean, no, it depends. It totally depends. One time I saw these people like basically form a love connection on a flight, and they were chit-chatting the whole time.
Oh, they got down and dirty, did they?
Well, I mean, they weren't like, they weren't doing anything.
Have you ever been romantically inclined with someone you've sat next to on an airplane?
I've ever been romantically inclined, as in
like have you ever been attracted to someone?
Flirtatious,
yeah, flirtatious.
Sure. I think over the years, yeah.
I got
not since I've been with Jeff, obviously.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the flight back from Memphis.
Well, we drove back from Memphis.
Oh, you drove back from Memphis? Were you romantically inclined with the person you drove back to Memphis?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. It's a new day for you, Krissy. Congratulations. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Best to you and your new love, whoever that is. I took a flight one time from Atlanta to San Francisco to visit a
that's
friend.
a long one.
Right after I had gotten a divorce. And right before I got a divorce, I was working at a restaurant. In that restaurant, there was a bartender, like a bar girl, like she worked the bar, right? It was a fine dining restaurant, but they, like every other fine dining restaurant, they hired the most attractive women that are competent, that can go out and, do the bidding of the restaurant. It's basically, it's good marketing, right? I remember a guy that owned restaurants one time said, the hottest girl in the bar always should be on your payroll, right? Mm-hmm. He was the douche. But anyway, so this girl worked as a barmaid, but I was married at the time and I never really thought of it. Yeah. And she was an attractive woman, that's for sure. So I get on the plane. It's one of my first big trips after the divorce by myself.
Okay.
I'm going to see a couple friends out there. I get on the flight. I'm sitting in the window seat, as I like to do.
Uh-huh. I like the window seat too.
Up comes someone, one of the bar girls. Like one of the girls that were waitresses from
into
the bar.
middle seat.
Into the middle seat.
Now that's where you like a middle seat companion.
Yes. So I'm like, at first she recognizes me, Bryan, and I was like, oh my God, let's call her Carrie. Oh my gosh, Carrie, hey, how you been? Oh, great, what's going on? I got a divorce. You did? Wow. What are you going to San Francisco for? I'm going to visit a few friends. Yeah. Where are you staying? Where am I staying? And then I start to notice a pungent smell coming from not only her armpits, but her breath. Oh. Like she was altogether stinky, like just really stinky. Like she just smelled...
This is where masks really come into play.
Breath of 1,000 asses. Yes, this is where I like masks. Because quite frankly, I don't have to worry about my breath or yours.
Right.
I'm smelling my own stink. If I have coffee breath, good for me. I'm the only one smelling my own stink. I can deal with my own stink. I just don't want you to deal with it. And I don't want to deal with yours. But this young lady, I mean, she just it smelled like she hadn't showered in days, though clearly she had. Like her hair was done and she looked good. Yeah. She just smelled bad. And I'm super sensitive to smells.
Yeah.
So like after about 45 minutes on the flight, I was like, you know what? I'm super tired. I'm going to take a nap. And I never talked to her again until at the end of the flight when I was like, oh, it's so good to see you. She's like, we should get numbers and hook up. And I was like, I'm just so busy. I got to catch a connecting bus with the crack smoking Costa Rican.
I almost got indoctrinated into Scientology on a flight.
Why do I find that not totally believable?
Seriously, I was on a flight similar to you from Atlanta this was to LA.
Okay.
This is when Mary was living in LA and I was flying out there to see her. So it's a long flight. It's like almost 4 hours.
Long time.
I'm sitting there talking to this guy. I like to have a glass of wine on the flight. I usually do. Yeah. I ordered a glass of wine. So I think I then ordered two, obviously. We start chit-chatting. He's telling me this guy was coming from Australia to go out to the motherland out in
the
LA.
Mothership?
The mothership, literally.
Yeah.
And he said he was with Scientology. And I'm like, I've always wanted to know about this. And
interesting you asked.
Starts telling me about it. And it sounds great. I'm like, maybe this is something I should look into.
So wait, some Australian douchebag on the flight starts telling you about the Zevons coming from Orc, and you were like,
he didn't
wow.
mention any of that. It was very self-helpy and like how, it's really great and you learn to deal with things and blah, blah, blah.
I get you.
So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I can see how it happens.
Do you remember when we were kids?
I got off the flight, I was like, maybe I'll look into it. And I did, and then decided not to join.
Do you remember when we were kids? Of course you did, because you fucking have a head on your shoulders. And you don't have $1 million to pay,
Well,
because unless you want to, if you want to move up in that cult, you have to have more money, right? I'm watching a documentary about the Jehovah's Witnesses right now, and I'm going to tell you what, I think we're going to do an episode on Jehovah's Witnesses, because you think the Scientologists are out of their brain. Wait until you listen to hear what the Jehovah's Witnesses have to say. Back to the flight. When you, I think that this whole thing with carry-on luggage is completely out of fucking control.
It is.
And I think somebody needs to put a stop to it. They need to let us have a free bag down under the flight, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Now, I understand there's also, even if it was a free bag or under the flight, that there are probably some like people who get nervous about their bags being under the flight, being under the plane. Like if you have expensive, like I had expensive audio equipment with me on Menfo, I wasn't going to let it out of my sight. Like it was coming with me. I didn't care who told me what. That's kind of why I bought the comfort seat, is because I know you're guaranteed a spot up there if you're sitting in a comfort seat or first class. But I witnessed a man with two children.
Shoving.
Oh my God.
The shoving and the pushing.
And the everybody getting, and like now you're 7
and
aisles away.
You're doing this over the people that are right there in the seat.
Your tits are hanging out. Yeah. And it's never the hot blonde from California, hot 26-year-old blonde from California. Right. It's always some like dingleberry from fucking Alpharetta. Some old hag, like, you might have my boobs getting your... Remember when your teacher used to reach over to like grade a paper or something and her boobs would just be in your face? You may not remember this. I remember this. We had this old hag of an English teacher, and her boobs were just huge, and they were just like, down to her knees. She was literally like a she came from the Salem witch trials or something. It was just like gross. Always dressed in black. And she would always like reach over me and like her boob would be brushing up on my face.
Oh my God.
It's just gross. And that's how, or someone, bends over on the airplane and their ass is in your face.
Yeah.
It's just completely inappropriate. We got to stop the madness with this carry-on luggage shit. Either planes make a bigger tube so that we have more room to put everybody's shit, or start really sticking to the rules that you have one bag per flight. That's it. I understand one bag plus a purse. I get that. One bag plus a small backpack. I get that. But you got to put that purse or that backpack under your feet.
Yeah.
You got to give room for everybody, because what's happening is that people who are in aisle 17 are going to aisle 30 fucking 6 to put their shit back there. Then the guy in aisle 36 is shit out of luck, and he's got to put his shit under the plane. He never wanted to put his shit under the plane.
Yep.
I witnessed a guy. First of all, also, the boarding process is out of control too. Where in the fuck do people get their manners from? I don't understand. They cut in line. Yeah. They're not even in. It's not even the right zone. I've seen a couple
and they're sitting there just waiting,
waiting, and they don't care that you've been standing in line waiting. They go stand next to the desk, and then they're like, "Oh, excuse me, can I? No, you can't, because I've been waiting for 15 fucking minutes, and you just decided to get off your ass with your Dunkin' Donuts coffee and your big fucking bagel and put your fat ass right in front of me.
Eating on the plane. Eating on the plane. That's
not appropriate. Don't bring your own food on an airplane. No one wants.
Snack is okay.
Yeah.
A full-blown tuna salad sandwich, not.
You know what a snack is? A snack is a Starburst, not a fucking onion and cheese sandwich from your house that's been sitting in a fucking Tupperware container for 3 days, and then you decide to open it up as soon as the plane lands. When they call your zone, orderly. If someone was there first, let them go first.
Exactly.
Why do I have to be the asshole?
Look, you've got a seat. You know you have a seat. Why are you rushing?
Because I don't know. Because I
guess they're trying to make sure they're carry on.
There's a magic dildo that gives you an orgasm the sooner you get on the plane. I don't know what the fuck is going on in people's heads.
I'm of the mind to not get to the airport too early, anyways.
Well,
Jeff
you know
hates it. Jeff hates it, but I'm like, I don't need to just stand or sit at the gate.
No.
Why? Why do I need to? I have a seat. It's guaranteed as long as I get there in time. I like to just breeze right on.
Me too. And you know what?
You do too. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, I'm Aster and
I've
I.
only missed one flight
with
doing
kids,
that.
it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right? With kids, it's a little bit different. Number one. Number two is that I say the caveat to that is when you're taking an international flight, you got to be there a little bit early because you never know what could happen when you're boarding, right? Your travel documents are fucked up. I don't know I don't know, but I just feel like international travel, you just got to prepare a little bit better.
Plus, the international travel gate is just delightful.
Oh yeah.
Because they're playing in Atlanta. They've got like a piano player, and there's like they're really handing out martinis.
Yeah. They're excited about you leaving the country. Congratulations. You're leaving. I witnessed, this is what else is out of control. I witnessed a man and his two at least 12-year-old children and his wife, As soon as anybody with small children, let me do this appropriately.
Okay.
Welcome to Delta 445 to Atlanta from Memphis. Congratulations on being your Delta assistant here today. We're going to start the boarding process. Let's go ahead and start with anybody that has a wheelchair, anybody that needs extra assistance, or people with small children or in a stroller. Let's go ahead and board those people now.
Yep.
Some jackass with 2 children over the age of 12, a lady who had absolutely no discernible problem that I could see, was sitting in a wheelchair, and it's like she's like a 32-year-old woman with no discernible issues. I saw her stand up multiple times, but then when it came to boarding, she sat down in the wheelchair and they pushed her on in, right? And then this man with these 2 children that are at least 12 years old gets on. He alone, every child is carrying a bag. The woman is carrying a roll-on and her own bag, and he is carrying 4 additional bags. One for each member of the fucking family. As soon as I get on the flight, rows 1 through 7 are filled with this shithead's fucking luggage. And it's like, dude, come on, man. Don't do that shit to us. Put it under there. Now I'm in seat 17, and I gotta fucking put my shit back in seat 27. And when did I get a New York accent? What just happened to my voice? That's what happens when you have the flu. It just like shit starts going crazy. This fucking jackhole decides he's just gonna take up 3, overhead bins with his kids and his shit. And what exactly is in there that's so important?
No.
What is in there?
You just don't want to pay for it.
Kids' clothing and some, is your kid still nipping on a bottle at 12 years old? What do you got in there? Pampers? Come on, man. These kids are playing their Wii, and they're just, dawdling on down first onto the airplane. What did you get for that, sir? What did you get for that? For cutting in line, for clearly breaking the rules, what exactly did you get for that? Now you're sitting on an airplane, stuck for 25 minutes while everybody else gets on the plane. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I have 2 whirling dervishes. I have 2 literal Tasmanian devils.
Yes, you do.
If I take them on a plane, I'm going first. You want to know why? Because everybody here wants them to go first.
Exactly.
You want them to be settled.
Settled.
Yes.
The settling.
You don't want Matthias running up and down the aisle when you were trying to get on the plane. I'm just telling you right now. It's bad news. He'll kick you in the nuts. He doesn't care. That kid doesn't care.
We'll now start boarding with our first class passengers, our Delta One, our Delta Platinum, our Delta Gold, our Delta Experience partners, American Express card holders, MasterCard, Disney Plus. We'll go ahead and say anybody who has Amazon Prime with speedy delivery. I'd like to welcome our Kroger, our
CVS
Kroger
Care Card,
our CVS Care Card, AAA members. Does anybody belong to Sunglass Hut? Sunglass Hut Rewards
Diners
Program?
Club.
Diners Club. Telly Savalas. Is Telly Savalas here? Does anybody have a door on their house? A door? We're going to go ahead and start serving those customers now.
Meanwhile, inevitably, I'm the one guy who has none of that. I'm like fumbling through my wallet. I'm like,
I've got a Starbucks app.
Do you take, excuse me. Do you take prepaid MasterCards? Credit limit $200 as long as I keep the $200 in the bank. It's like a debit card, but they say it's a credit card. It builds up your credit. Is that okay? What about a Finger Hut? Do you take Finger Hut?
Yeah. This is
and
true.
Then inevitably, it's like,
Okay.
Everybody else.
Brian Green.
Brian.
Brian Green, you can board now.
I've let everybody go. It's just such a fucking when did flying become such a clusterfuck? Actually, I know the answer to that, 9/11. That's when it became a clusterfuck.
That's true, yeah.
But it's just gotten so much worse, and I think the airlines could do so much more to make this such a pleasant experience. Now, I always fly Delta.
Me too,
If I can. If I can, I always fly Delta or to one of Delta's partners because they're the biggest airline in the world. And for my money, they're the best airline in the world. Now, they're not perfect, but they're better than Southwest. I mean, this morning, Southwest canceled 4,000 flights, blaming it on the weather. And meanwhile,
no one else canceled flights.
The literal head weatherman for everybody, like the national director of weather, they had to put out a statement like there is literally no weather. And Southwest was like, I swear to God, there was weather when we looked. We canceled all the flights.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's crazy. I know. They were like air traffic controllers, weather, and like the head of the traffic controllers was like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Somebody called and said something about traffic controllers.
There was bad weather.
We had to cancel all those flights.